We've been talking about the reactions and the controversies generated by the postponement of the Edo governorship election. More controversies from what has been said and what was not said, what was done and what was not done. Let's take a listen to now what Governor Nyesom Wike of Rivers State over allegations of mobilizing militants, which he said was credited to the governor of Edo State. And here is his own response to this matter. Governor Wike says, and I quote, Governor Wike has no links with militants in the region and anywhere else in the country. He has only given more support to the PDP candidate in Edo State to overcome the ineptitude and dysfunction of the All Progressives Congress APC imposed on the people. Well, the statement went further to say Governor Wike would continue to give more support to democratic forces, not just in the region, but across the country to bring better life to Nigerians. That was a statement released by the Commissioner of Information and Communications in Rivers State, Dr. Tam George. It was also, we heard yesterday on the program when the governor of Edo State said there were militants, some of them who are registered as voters for the election from neighboring states. And these are some of the reactions generated from that statement. But let's move on now. The APC, too, is not keeping quiet on the matter. The chairman of the APC in Edo State, Ansem Ojesua, and the candidate of the APC, Godwin Obaseki, today at a press conference reacting to the postponement of the election. They say the postponement equally affects them. They've put a lot into the campaigns, and they're sad and shocked by the postponement of the election. Take a listen now.
Ran a primaries that was like a full-blown election. So I have actually been in the field for the last 8 months campaigning. My opponents haven't done as much work as I have done. So if anybody feels the pain of this extension, I am the one who feels it the most.
Having regards to the provisions of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and the Electoral Act, we are obliged to defer to the decision of INEC, particularly when security threats have been cited as the reason for the postponement.
Security threats. Well, let's get more perspective to these postponement saga, shall we? Let's hear from INEC. The Chief Press Secretary to the INEC Chairman, Rotimi Oyekomi, joins us now from our Abuja studio. Many thanks for joining us, Rotimi. Interesting now that you are back in your base in Abuja, just like some of us also had returned from Benin City. But now a lot of things Nigerians are trying to wrap their heads around. 6 hours, within the space of 6 hours, INEC had changed its mind. INEC had made two different decisions to go ahead or not to go ahead. A lot of people will wonder, maybe INEC was pressured by the executive. Was there anything like that?
There was nothing like that, Sheung. What happened was that we went for this last stakeholders forum, and we were well into it. There was a DIG from the police headquarters who was with us. He had always been with us. And towards the tail end of that forum, news filtered in from the social media that there was a press conference in Abuja where the police were advising INEC to postpone the election. And we didn't have any official communication, and coupled with the fact that we received assurances from the representatives of the Inspector General of Police at the forum, we decided to ignore the rumor. Unfortunately, by 6 p.m. that day, we now got official communication from the police and the DSS telling us that there were security threats and that the election should be postponed. That was what happened.
A lot of people will wonder, INEC looked so very much composed and assured about they're going for. In fact, Mr. Solomon Shoyabi had told journalists, I was there, that look, they were 99% ready, and the threats that the security threat that were the claims of security threats is really not founded. But again, a lot of people said I don't know how true that is, but we want to ask you because we want to know exactly what was happening on the inside at INEC, that there were calls from some quarters to pressurize INEC for shifting these dates, and a lot we wonder because some people have said INEC is working with a political party in their favor.
Well, the truth of the matter is that INEC is an independent body. We are governed by a set of rules, the enabling law, and all our actions are guided by the provisions of that law. So it is not true that there was any form of pressure on INEC. The truth is that we have been preparing for these elections since March. We have deployed all the personnel, we have deployed all the materials, and we were ready. In fact, there were 14 activities in the timeline. We had successfully executed 12 of them. So we were ready to go. And that stakeholders forum was to be the final one with the political parties and other stakeholders. International observers were on ground, local observers were on ground. So we didn't envisage any problem at all. And before then, we didn't have any inkling that we would get that kind of advice. So it was shocking for us, really, when eventually the communication came that we had to postpone. And of course, you know that when you're organizing an election and the police, those who are supposed to provide security, are saying they cannot provide security, we cannot go ahead because we don't want to put the lives of the voters, of our staff, and all the, even journalists, you know, I don't want to put them to risk. So that was what happened. It is not true that there was pressure from anywhere. We just had to take cognizance of the advice, a written letter, actually two of them from the Police Inspector General and then the DSS.
Well, there were reports, for example, from a non-governmental organization, Clean Foundation, highlighting areas of possible security threat in Edo State. Did INEC get that information, and what is the significance of that information to the one released, the advisory from the security agencies?
Well, if I am correct, the report by Clean did not give the impression that there were such threats that could jeopardize the election. Yes, there were flashpoints noticed at the riverine areas, but they were not enough to jeopardize the election. And we got the report, and of course, precaution was taken and measures were put in place. But when the security agencies came up with their own advice and the reasons they gave, we had no choice but to take the advice.
Clean Foundation came forward to say there are 6 possible areas where violence may occur, and one would be wondering, did INEC also consider these areas, and did you interact with the police or the authorities about this issue and the concerns raised on security?
Well, there was a security meeting we had with the security agencies, all the arms, the police, the army, the navy, and all the security arms. They were there, and we discussed issues concerning the riverine areas, and the Navy gave us assurances that they were going to deploy some gunboats to secure the place. So there were no serious issues raised as at that time, even as at the time the forum was taking place in Benin City. That's why we were all surprised that the signal, the advice came from the security agencies now telling us of this new development. And of course, we are not professional security experts, and if those that are experts in that field are saying that we cannot go on based on what they have discovered, based on intelligence report, I think the best thing is just to listen to them.
Rotimi, could you tell us, just in terms of finance and in terms economically, what is the postponement costing INEC? How much, for example, is this shift of dates going to cost INEC?
Well, as I speak, the computation is still being done. The Benin people, our office in Benin is still trying to grapple with what has happened. And you know, when you mobilize, it's usually more difficult to demobilize, because what has happened has affected our operations. We had mobilized over 18,000 staff. Now we have to demobilize. And we are going back to the drawing board. Some form of training will still have to be provided. The election is going to take place on the 28th now. We have to bring back the ad hoc staff that were asked to go back. So it's an ongoing thing. To put a figure right now is difficult, because you can't just measure what has gone in and what is going to happen. You know, it's an ongoing thing. We keep spending and we keep spending. But I'm sure that at the right time, we will have answers to all these questions, because INEC is a public institution and we are accountable to the Nigerian people.
Some people will say, for example, it will cost INEC about 300 million naira to conduct a governorship election such as the one in Edo State. To demobilize and remobilize, the INEC might be having to cough out some extra funds running to about 50 or 100 million naira. Could this be true?
Well, the truth is that this is going to cost us some more money because of the postponement. But I don't have the exact figures, and I will not want to speculate on how much it's going to cost INEC. But the truth is, it's going to cost us some more money, because, you know, we had mobilized, now we are demobilizing, now we are going to remobilize again. And we all know how the economy is right now. But honestly, I cannot give you a specific figure because I don't have it right now.
All right, just as we close now, the new date has been given, but is this date very comfortable, considering the fact that one of the reasons given by the governor of Edo State yesterday on the program is the possible installation of the traditional head of the kingdom in Benin, and also the issue of examination. As INEC put all of these into consideration so that you will not have any more logistics challenge on your hands?
Definitely, all these considerations were considered. All these things were taken into cognizance when we arrived at that date. We were informed about the coronation of the new Oba, and we have been in touch with those conducting the examination. We have looked at the timetable, and we have arrived at a date that we feel will be conducive.
All right, Rotimi Oyekomi, Chief Press Secretary to the INEC Chairman, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu. Many thanks, Rotimi, for talking to us. We will get you back to talk to us more. Give us the mind of your principal, the INEC Chairman, as the day of the new date for the Edo governorship election approaches. We keep tap right here on Channels Television to bring you more as we get them development coming from Edo State. From the old team right here, Channels Television. I'm Sean Kimale. Bye for now.